Hello everybody and welcome to the track. We are straight here today. We're continuing the grind for the Make-A-Wish Widdowmaker Racing Le Mans 24-hour warm-up. This is the World Touring Car 700 of the circuit of the Sarthe. This is the Le Mans circuit. We'll be running the full race this year on June the 15th and 16th. We're starting the race at 3 PM, an adjusted time because of me getting mixed up with winter and summer times. But it'll be a 3 PM start in the UK. The race kicks off in Europe at 4 PM. And it will go on for 24 hours. Today we're using the GTR LM Nismo 15. This is a front-engined, front-wheel drive car. And we've tuned this down to 700 pp. Let's take a look. So we're on racing hard tyres. We also have the wets available to us. We've got fully customizable suspension, as we say, 295 brake horsepower. It's not a lot. The customizable suspension is all default. The full front suspension is fully customizable with nothing changed. Downforce. So we've got downforce at the rear 1400, downforce at the front 908. That's just tuned to get the PP correct. Fully customizable ECU set to the lowest possible output at 70. Power restrictor at 70. We've got the full ballast of 200 at the front. At 46 to the front. Manual customizable gear set to 360. That's default. We're going to leave it there to try and see if we can use the upper gears to save fuel. It will make us struggle down the straight, but we'll just have to make sure we're with somebody and using their drag or their slipstream. The turbocharger, there is none. The only thing we do have is the brake balance controller set to 0 currently. Let's have a look at the controller settings. We are on a Fanatec DD Extreme. We've got a force feedback max torque 5. I'm normally running that at 3, but I'm just trying to get a bit more road feel into the steering wheel, so I've just pushed it up to 5 for now. Force feedback sensitivity 10. There isn't much more to say. Let's just dive straight into this and see where we go. So, fuel map at 1. We're going to see where we are on fuel. Let's brake balance, see where we go. I think we might leave that at 0 because we're going to get quite a bit of front tyre wear because that's where the drive is. We're not going to punch Mr. Solis one right in the butthole to start the day, are we? We've made our way past Solis and we're up alongside Mr. Bishop. We're struggling for acceleration. Oh, 100 mile an hour there. Diving on the brakes around the outside maybe. We've got a bit more traction at the front end because of that extra weight. We're going to see if we can get around his outside here. Oh, we might make it through. Oh, we can take a tap, but we'll have that. We made that through. We didn't pull in on him. At least I don't think we did. Let's see if we can get to the slipstream of Mr. Kato. We're right on the edge at 0.613. We're just catching. 6.4 laps of fuel. Now we're slipping away. Now we changed up to 4th. We expect to see those guys catch us from behind. We've depleted all the battery. Brake as late as we possibly can. Second gear over 100 mile an hour. See if we can just use Mr. Cookerbun to get us past Kato. There's no battery left, and as we change up to 3rd, Kato slips away. Fuel up to 6.6. It drops to 6.5. We knock it back to 6.6 as we go to the next gear. Here comes Mr. Solis. Not going to be left behind, is he? He's in our slipstream. Oh dear. There's me trying to get into his slipstream and mess that up a little bit. We've got damage to the front splitter now, so that'll give us aero issues. If we can get to this bottom corner with 6.5, that's 7 laps. We don't have to stop if we can manage the rain. Here comes Mr. Kato again. Into his slipstream to try and carry us through. Probably brake a little bit later. All this weight over the front wheels really does help. We've got we've got wear on the front and the rears just showing. We changed gear into third at 116 miles an hour. That's tremendous. And we lose 2 miles an hour as we change up to fourth gear. It's because we've just got no power. 300 brake horsepower, 295. My little Mini's got more power than this, but it weighs about the same, I'd suggest, with that 200 kilos added. The weight of the car carrying it through the corner. So we're sat in 18th place. We might just get a little bit of a slingshot as we go through the Porsche curves. 6.2 laps remaining. Let's see. Can we do a no stop? We'll just have to watch for the rain and see where it goes. Mr. Solis tries to come back at us. He does come back at us. We dab the brakes to go around the outside. He's going to try and hold it in there. The Audi just bottles the corner. Mr. Cookupon just... There's certainly more feedback through the wheel, more curb feel. We're getting a little bit of road rumble, which is what I want to feel. That's actually what I want to feel. I want to feel the tarmac beneath the wheels. Oof, ooh. Trying to cut as much as we possibly can. Try and keep the line as straight as possible. So we come through in 16th place at the end of lap 1. A 4:27, which is really slow. 6 laps remaining. Let's now go to the rain radar. Let's see and wait for that rain to appear. Second gear. Accelerating from low levels to try and save as much fuel as possible. I generally don't think we're going to need to change tyres if the rain stays away. We've had 3 races so far, maybe 4. I know you probably haven't seen a couple of them yet, but I can tell you we've had very little rain, or very little need to change tyres of late. Or see if we can catch the draft off Mr. Sugawara to try and give us an opportunity. We're 4.5 seconds ahead of Cookupon. We needed to be a little bit closer. We needed that little bit more, didn't we? Mr. Sugawara makes it past Mr. Hizal. But we've maintained that 4.5 seconds over Cookupon. See if we can slingshot a little bit here. Don't close up as much as I wanted to. $116 miles an hour in second gear. That's phenomenal. As the leaders go through the second chicane on the Mulsanne. I believe that's actually called Forza. That second chicane. Could prove to be corrected though, of course. There we go. Back onto it. Oh, we just picked up a penalty there. I don't know what for. Don't know where we got that from, but I also saw rain. There is rain, top left-hand corner. So from the northwest, more northerly. Big bank of the whitey blue stuff, the light blue. So that just indicates rain clouds and a chance of rain. It doesn't have to be hard at all. Oh, we took out a wobbly knob. Didn't need to do that, did we really? Only 2.4 seconds ahead of Solis, who's got past Kato. There's absolutely no need for us to take any fuel this race, I don't think. Let's just see. 5.4. We're actually bob on for fuel. Now we need to consider what we're going to do with tyres. I think based on what I'm seeing there, we can potentially just stay on the hards for now. We're going to look at... oh, there's green in there, is there? Mr. Solace is coming now. There is green. Not seeing any rain. It looks like we're going to run straight through the middle of that green rain. He says. And looks like my Spidey senses, my Widdowmaker senses, are saying change tyres. Mr. McEwen's gone in. We're just going to go in and change tyres though, but it's such a long run into the pits. The rain is coming, and yeah, if I'm anything, I'm thinking we should go for inters. We're going to bail on the one stop, on the no stop. Just go for the inters, don't refuel, there's no need. I've just looked for my drink, it's the other side of the room. Let's change cameras so you can see my footsie cam. There we go, footsie cam in place. This will drop us really down the pack, but we're hoping this rain is going to catch the leaders out, having pushed on. We're not going to take fuel. Stunning livery by JB. Of course, this is emblazoned in the Make-A-Wish livery, accentuating what we're doing here and where we're going and what this is for. There we go. The rain is on its way down. And, of course, the rain is into the point where intermediate tyres are the preferred value. They're on race tyres, and it does look like there may be trouble ahead. The guys in front of us have come out the pits as well as we slide round that corner, but we are configured for rain. That's what the aero's for, and this 200 kilo over the front tyres is really going to help that. We just don't need it to come down any more tremendously than it is. So the leaders have made it down to the second chicane, as we are in last place by 1 minute and 1 second. We'll have to see just where this brings us. Fifth gear into the heavy stuff. They are having issues. I don't want a yellow flags don't overtake. Mr. Bishop, we've got traction where you don't. We've made 6 seconds up. And we should be saving fuel. Here comes Mr. Bishop again. He's already hit the anchors and sliding. There's the yellow flags. Mr. Bishop goes straight on. We've got a do not overtake warning. Which is always, it says do not overtake. Now we're going past Mr. Yamanaka. I just dabbed the brakes there just to make the difference. I was very cautious about those yellow flags, and there was going to be an incident down here, isn't there? I really want to back out. I want to take all of these as much as we can. We've got the traction and the grip. Oh, something happened there. We got elevated. Green flags. We just tried to squeeze our way through there. One of the wobbly knobs just what do you call them, those greeny things, just sort of wobbled us out of the way, but that puts us up to 8th place. And the car in front is all over the show. Oh, Mr. Kevelum. Obviously on those racing tyres, aquaplaning. We're up to 7th, just 40 seconds behind. Oh, Mr. Hisal's gone off to the left. Pulls back across the track. Mr. Blazan there is going terribly slowly. We have the tyre advantage. We're 21 seconds behind the leaders. .8 seconds behind Mr. Gallo. 16 second place. 16 seconds behind the leader, Mr. Healy. So we're now only, well, we're not in a bad position at all. We don't have to stop there. We're going to be yellow flags ahead. Somebody's gone off the track. Oh, they're all going off the track. Mr. Gallo's having a moment. Mr. Kawakami. We're only 6 seconds behind the leaders now, as we have the advantage. Mr. Healy in the Genesis. We're going to just come sliding past you on these inters. What a car. This perfectly set up for this wet weather. We were all going to complain about, oh, you get much more advantage out of lesser aero on the rear because it's not rear wheel drive. Oh, let's just make it in there just by the hair on our teeth. Oh, we get a penalty for just cutting that apex. We can handle that. There's a very close call by the line judge. We'll take it though. Fastest lap of the race so far fits with Mr. Kawakami of 4:19. Mr. Healy goes in. I think everybody's going to be going in for tyres, I would estimate. We've now got to just capitalise and find a way of just making as much distance on them as we can. We're much slower on an even keel, on an even playing field. They have the advantage. We are much slower. But we took the tyres at exactly the right time. And the people that pitted alongside us didn't take the tyres. And it looks like we're going into a spell where the track is going to be drying up. The weather, the track conditions itself are just at the point where the wet tyres become a more favourable, more desired tyre, and they are going for them. As you can see, top left hand corner, as they come out of the pits, they are changing to wets, yet some aren't, to be honest. Excuse me. I saw a couple of guys going to wet tyres, and I'm seeing some come out on the softs. But the track is getting wetter. The rain continues. We are 1 minute and 2. So we've inverted the field. We were 1 minute behind the leaders in 20th place when we started that last lap. We've come off that second lap 1 minute and 4 seconds ahead of the current second place. And we are in first. And the end of the rain looks like it's approaching. We have just managed to brake in time. We're going to have to shed that half a second. It's just a lift penalty, really. No dramas. And we're halfway through lap 4. And the fuel is not yet at the halfway point. So there's a definite chance of 7 laps. We're going to brake just on the end of the centre white line. Minute and 3 seconds in the lead. We're just going to take these tyres as long as they're going to survive. The rain is just sort of sitting on that intermediate favoured sort of position. It's a fine line between the two, but you'd rather be on the inters in a drying track scenario than the wet, I would suggest. It's 70 mile an hour into first gear as we dab the brakes just to keep the car out the gravel trap. Now it uses a bit more fuel to be in first gear, but (1 minute and 1 second), so equal conditions. We're going to lose time on the field. This is about staying out as front as long as possible and trying to erode. Well, the driver in second place, Mr. Hayward, has got to erode that lead that we have. There's advertising boards on the right on the track. There's been some shenanigans going on round here. Here we go then. I thought the rain would be done with, but it's not. It looks like it's in to stay for a little while longer yet. We didn't pick up a penalty that time. This front wheel drive car dealing beautifully with the wet weather conditions. A long way off beating Mr. Kawakami's fastest lap. So there's our first recorded lap of 4:53 without any sort of interference. Indicators now that the track is drying out. The rain gauge is dropping on that, on the meter on the left hand side. Got to get used to running laps here for that big race on the 15th and 16th. All 24 hours. We do have 8 places left, 8 places available if anybody wants to take it on. Looking for people or individuals or teams, it doesn't matter. Looking for people to, if you ever want that challenge, you have it. There's always a big demand for endurance races, and this will be one. It used to be a 24-hour endurance option. Mr. Hayward goes to the pits. He's going to shed those wet tyres. Looks like he's going to transfer to intermediates. But there was back in GT5 a 24-hour race, and it was a prize. It was a trophy to be able to run the 24 hours. Most of us did it by stopping and starting the game and leaving your PlayStation on for about a week to do it. It was a tremendous challenge on the controller back in those days. Just trying to remember what version it was. I don't think it was GT5. I think it was like GT3, GT4 that I last did it. At Grand Valley I did it. The original Grand Valley. So Mr. Mangiano goes to the pits as well, and Hayward does transfer to the intermediates. 1 minute 36 behind. We have to plan on and bank on taking these inters off, but there's only 8 minutes of the race remaining. Is this a chance where we can win this race in 6 laps? I don't think so. We're going to get 2 more laps in 4:53. Yeah, it's going to be the 7th lap, I believe. But we're not going to need fuel. That is for sure. Don't think we're actually going to need to stop for tyres again. We'll do it on a 1 stop. And this car just lives on the edge of its battery at all times, doesn't it? You can see the battery is trying to give as much power as it possibly can, but there's nothing there. Mr. Hayward now 1 minute 40 seconds behind. He was on wets. In the wetter conditions, he's now on the inters. He's going to be charging down that straight. Mr. Solis, Mr. Hizal going to the wet tyres, going to the dry tyres, sorry, going to full race tyres. I can hear the spray coming up off the wheels. As we now come out of that cloud cover, it's a little bit misty, a little bit hazy, but the sun is going to come boring through any moment. The track is going to start to dry out, and it won't be very long before that rain dissipates from the circuit and we'll be into a dry condition. But at certain places this racetrack is still absolutely soaking. I'll just run through the edge there, you can see it. So if we're going to be running on these intermediate tyres, we just have to remember where the track is wet and how we can prolong the life of these inters. Don't think there's any point in pitting at this time. Made it through. 6 minutes and 8 seconds to go. 6 minutes and 4 as we cross the line. So we just knocked 13 seconds off that time. It's definitely going to be a 7-lapper. We're into the full drying condition now. We can see a dry line just starting to appear. But the track is still very wet on the curbs and the periphery of the circuit. These tyres are going to hold up though. I'm 100% sure they are. We're going to run down the entire length of the Mulsanne Straight on the wet patch. Definitely. Don't want any more penalties. So let's drop to the inside edge of the circuit there. There it is. Follow this white line. There we go, just run this wet line here. That'll keep the tyres dry. Keep the tyres dry. It'll keep them cool. We're now going to transfer to the left hand side of the circuit. And we're going to just be a shorter distance to get into the braking zone, which is just here. As you can see, that braking zone is now at the point where race tyres could be favourable. And we're going to drop into this race line on the right here, where the track is wettest underneath the overhanging trees. Still got the puddles there. We've got no fear of aquaplaning. 1 minute 37 seconds ahead of Mr. Haywood. Mr. Carmel Carmi still has the fastest lap. And as the cars ahead of us, the tail end cars, are just going round that curve at the bottom of the straight. Let's have a look at where we are with fuel. 2 laps remaining. That's going to be enough, isn't it? We've only got this one and the next one to do, so we're going to get to the line with 1.5 laps. Mr. Cookerburn's gone in with the wet tyre. Mr. Bishop's gone in with the wet tyre. That leaves Haywood out there in front. We're hoping to see Mr. Healy in the Genesis recover somewhat and come back. He's there in 8th. He should gain a few places. Let's get back into that wet track. See, the fronts are just starting to pick up some heat now. So Cookerburn and Bishop can leave out, so Healy's there in 8th. He hasn't managed to recover his lead, which is a shame for him. Mr. Haywood has been pressing all the way through the race. He's certainly not undeserving of that second place. Handled that car very well. Handles beautifully, this front wheel drive car. In these wet conditions, it is absolutely set up for it. Not a very popular car, I wouldn't have thought. because of both its looks. It's unusual. The front wheel drive element is also extremely unusual for the Le Mans type vehicle. There was some technology development, I'm sure, about being a front wheel drive car in the prototype guys, trying to ensure that this type of vehicle didn't get, or this kind of drivetrain, the powertrain didn't get left behind, because so many cars throughout the world are front wheel drive, but the major countries always seem to shun them. They don't seem to get the most power, the biggest power, probably because of the difficulty of trying to get the power down through those front wheels. The Volvo T5 engine, for example, in the Ford Focus, used to have tremendous trouble. The Cosworth variant of the car had an independent knuckle suspension just to try and cope with the power delivered by that 5-cylinder engine that came from the Volvo. It was a great car of its time, though, the Volvo T5 engine. Again, front wheel drive, absolutely awesome stuff to put that amount of power down and be competitive in the British Touring Car Championship. And this car itself has that same sort of front wheel drive setup. I've no idea how the power to the drivetrain is, or the power is delivered through the drivetrain, but just trying to give you some examples of where front wheel drive can be extremely powerful and extremely quick. So here we are, on to the last lap. We could probably have sat at the line there and won the race within 6 laps. This would have been one of those that we could have done it, but we've chosen to race on. We're looking at a greater victory of lapping the cars in front, potentially. Trying to rub it in a little bit. But we are not going to pit again. We're just going to do the one stop. This car in the dry weather could have gone the whole distance with fuel and the single set of tyres. I'm not 100% sure. Mr. Hayward now goes to the pits. Is he going to give up his potential second place to Mr. McEwen in the second place? Is McEwen going to pit as well? Are we in a situation where he had the fuel to go to the end? Is he going to give up that second place purely because of the pitting process? The time has finished anyway, so there's a chance he might get across. He's finished in the pits, only completing 6 laps. So every car behind them, every car behind me now is going to be finished on 6 laps. Oh, there's a turn up for the books. What's going to happen? Yes, they all take the flag. This could have definitely been a winning 6. I've never done a winning 6 laps before. Didn't have to actually run this lap. I could have just rolled in there, waited for the time to tick, and then just run through it. But we do like to finish the race technically. Let's see if we can catch those cars ahead of us. See if we can actually lap anybody. Genuine lappings. They are getting faster now with the drier surface. Everybody that crosses the line is done. Our fastest lap of 4:34.1 as opposed to Mr. Kawakami's 4:19.781, which would have been lap 2, and they're nowhere near us. Look, are we going to get to lap anybody? That's the question. Or is everybody going to the pits? There's a question. When they go to finish the race in the pits, do they get released from the pit box and have to do a warm down lap? That's interesting. We've got 0.6 laps of fuel. We've got plenty to get us to the finish line. We only stopped to swap tyres. We're not going to catch anybody. There's no going to be any chance of us lapping anybody. Are people all going to the pits? Are they all carrying on through? They're all carrying on through. No, they make it through the line before we get there. But they do get the blue flags. We finished 2 minutes plus ahead of anybody else behind us. And there we have it. The Nissan GTR. Front wheel drive for the win. In first place with beautiful popping and banging. There you have it. Such a slow car, but just that rain advantage, just the grip and the traction. The timing of the pit stop was all the difference. So there we have it, 1 lap ahead of everybody. And the fastest lap to Mr. Kawakami. Do we get the clean race bonus? Yes, we do, because we didn't overtake under yellows. It's the only chance you'll lose it. There you have it. Takes us over the 15 million. A 3-star ticket for the day. Just makes you feel right. There you have it, folks. Thank you very much. Glad you can join us. We are looking forward to that race now, which is only a matter of weeks away. And I've just been developing the driver pack, which should be soon winging its way to those drivers who have, what's the word? Elected to take part. Hopefully there'll be more of you as we go through, and we can talk some of you into joining us. And we'll see how we go. Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you on the next one. All the best. Take care. The Nissan GTR. The perfect choice for the 700 World Touring Car Championship. It'll get you the win.